People really don't know what their expenses will be because they don't know how long that they're going to live.
Americans are worried they won't have enough saved for retirement now more than ever.
Retirement is going to cost, for many folks, over $1 million.
Is no sure thing in investing, but a lot of people think that annuities may come close to that.
It's going to more safe things that they know. If they know they're going to need that money to supplement their retirement, well, then you can't play that risk.
This is the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman Sr., founder and partner of Heischman Financial Services, serving the Columbus and surrounding areas. Jon specializes in educating pre-retirees and retirees about safe money strategies and ideas. Now, it's the Safe Money and Retirement Show. Here's Jon Heischman Sr.
You have tuned into the Safe Money and Retirement Show, hosted by me, Jon Heischman. Thanks for joining, and I hope the information that I broadcast to you is going to give you something to think about, related to your planning. And as always, if you have questions or want more information about any of my topics in retirement planning, please contact me. The number, which is available 24/7, is 888-426-0177. Once again, 888-426-0177. My office in Reynoldsburg, feel free to call me direct, 614-861-7055. Now, I'm going to start out the show by talking about a topic that a lot of people don't want to talk about, they don't want to think about, and that is long-term care coverage. Many of you may have some type of long-term care coverage. However, the statistics show that the majority of you don't, because only about 12% of retirees have long-term care coverage. The whole idea behind some type of long-term care coverage, and I'll go into some options later on, but we want to protect your assets, your retirement assets, from the high cost of long-term care. And it has and will drain retirement accounts and put a retiree in a poverty situation. Unfortunately, so many think that Medicare is going to cover long-term care. It does not. Now, Medicaid will, if you have no assets in your name and transfer your assets to an irrevocable trust and can wait 5 years, Medicaid can step in and cover that cost. But in the meantime, you have to spend down to a poverty welfare situation. Do you realize that those turning 65 today have a 70% chance of needing long-term care? That's 7 out of 10. And recently, we've seen a lot of commercials about health insurance, Medicare supplements, and because of open enrollment, finally it stopped. But some have indicated to think that Medicare will cover long-term care. And as I mentioned, it doesn't, and it's very misleading. Depending on your plan, Medicare may or may not cover short-term home care in a situation where there might be a 1-hour bath visit after a hospital stay. But again, it does not cover long-term care. The sky-high cost of long-term care and the burden that caregiving can place on a family, both typically is going to contribute to an individual's decision to purchase long-term care insurance. But no one in their 20s or 30s typically has long-term care insurance. So when is the right time to start investing in a policy? And for those who bought a long-term care coverage and have been paying the premiums, another question arises. How do you know when the time has arrived to actually use it? Well, let me give you some guidelines as far as what does a long-term care policy cover. So first of all, let's be clear. What we're paying for when we're paying between $150 and $500 a month for long-term care, and in many situations, depending on age, more, most of these policies are going to require what we call medical underwriting. Does the individual qualify health-wise for a particular company writing long-term care insurance to issue a contract? These policies generally cover, and again, if you're approved, personal or custodial care that is supported with activities of daily living. And they call these ADLs, such as eating, bathing, dressing, but most include medical services like skilled nursing care or occupational therapy. And it may provide services like skilled nursing care in a facility, in addition to home health care. So the key is to know what long-term care coverage covers. I like to kind of back it up and point out what it doesn't cover, what an individual's exposure is, which is easy to do for those few companies today that even write long-term care policies. Let's talk about when is the best time to buy long-term care policy. I think or recommend if you're buying an actual long-term care policy in your 50s or early to mid 60s. Why? Because at that age, most people are likely to qualify medically. They have a lower premium. However, potentially they could be paying longer. What you don't want to do is wait until you're in your 70s or maybe early 80s to purchase a long-term care policy. And for those of you that have checked into the cost, you know what I'm talking about. It's very expensive. I think everyone that's retired and pre-retirement does realize the need for long-term care. There's a very good chance most people have experienced a relative, a parent, or a friend that had to go to a nursing home and faced the cost of what a nursing home costs today. But why do so few have long-term care? Well, as I mentioned earlier, the cost for that type of policy. Or what if you don't have to use it? What if you're one of those 3 out of 10 that don't need long-term care? Then the premium you've paid in is gone. It's basically use it or lose it situation. Well, here's some alternatives. obviously what I've been talking about, you can purchase a long-term care policy, pay the premium, and accept the fact if you don't use it, your money is gone. Very similar to your homeowner's insurance. If you don't have a claim, you don't get your money back. Your premiums, they're gone. But you pretty much have to have homeowner insurance, especially if you have a mortgage. Another option today that is pretty much sweeping the retirement category is the long-term care policy tied to an annuity contract. You purchase an annuity for the tax advantages, the long-term growth available, and attach the long-term care rider, which companies will double or maybe 2.5 times a long-term care payout of the initial annuity purchase. So $100,000 going into a tax-deferred annuity could provide $200,000, $250,000, depending on the company, of long-term care benefits. You don't have a premium. Your only cost was the initial deposit, which could have come from savings, a matured CD, money that was inherited, that, of course, you hope you don't have to use it and you can reap the rewards of the growth of the annuity on a tax-deferred basis. But if there is that need for long-term care, you've got coverage. If you don't have to use the long-term care benefit, you're not out any money as far as an actual long-term care premium. So I'm here to introduce this concept to those that haven't looked into it, and I'd be willing to bet I've got some listeners that have already done this, but for those that haven't, it's definitely a way to provide long-term care coverage and protect those retirement assets and your money and your savings. Give me a call. Let's talk about that and see if it applies to your situation. Many times we can find the money to fund that by doing some creative planning. 888-426-0177, 888-426-0177. It's time for me to take a break, so I'll be right back, and I'm going to give you some good information that applies to retirement planning that I think you'll want to stay tuned for. I'll be right back.
Life expectancy is at all-time highs, so that means you've got a future to plan for at any age. If you have longevity in your family tree, then you need financial education from someone with the experience and knowledge to guide you into and through your retirement years. Jon Heischman and the folks at Heischman Financial Services are committed to helping you achieve your retirement goals with a low-key and trustworthy approach. Call Heischman Financial Services today to get started on your retirement future. Call 1-888-426-0177. That's 1-888-426-0177. Heischman Financial Services has your future in mind.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned into the second part of the show, Safe Money and Your Retirement. So I thought I would take the second part of the show and talk about choosing a team of advisors who will work for you. Why do you need a team, and how do you find competent professionals to work with you? No matter what you're doing, designing a retirement plan estate plan, tax plan, or maybe an investment plan, you'll need to hire the right people to help you achieve your goals. Your responsibility is to determine and map out your goals, and then let a competent professional team help you get what you want. I think that first, you have to realize that everyone needs help at one time or another. It's just a fact of life. I mean, it's the way it is. The world today is so complex, and nobody, and I repeat, nobody knows everything. Not you, not any other professional knows everything. I know I don't. That's why when you have an operation, there's a surgeon, anesthesiologist, scrub nurses, nursing technicians, and a host of other highly trained individuals. And that's because they know a team of people who are specialists in certain areas will make the procedure go like clockwork. And they must work together to perform even the simplest of surgeries. So why, when it comes to financial matters, do most people think they can pick up an investment magazine or become their own financial advisor, accountant, and an attorney overnight? From my perspective, it would absolutely scare me to death to try and do my own taxes. The way these tax laws have been changing year to year, guaranteed I'm going to miss something. So I'm going to pay a little bit more money to an accountant to have my taxes done, and will be up to date on new tax laws and changes. How can someone who hasn't intensely studied these specialized fields believe they can know it all and handle it all by themselves just from, let's say, a magazine? Or going one step further, maybe a friend or a family member. And I look back over my many years in practice and can see everybody is different. Now, there's a group of people that are very similar, but there's still a difference, and the advisor needs to zero in on these differences, because, take myself for example, I'm going to recommend a particular strategy for that individual because now I know a lot about him or her and what's going to be in their best interest. For example, if you're worried about having enough money for retirement, this is a symptom, and you need to see a financial professional if you're worried about taking care of your family. But the trick is, many of these financial symptoms and matters are interrelated. And I'll give you an example. If you don't manage the taxes you pay, you won't have much to invest, which may mean you can't retire, which means you may go broke, which leads you to having nothing left to leave to your family and loved ones. And you can mix up and change the order that I mentioned, and the concept remains the same. One aspect of your financial life is going to affect the other. And there is no better example of that in retirement planning. Your best chance at not getting caught up in the financial tangle is getting advice from all of your advisors together. So you may be thinking, well, who should I have on my team? And as we know, every situation is different. Most individuals need a group of competent financial professionals to work together in achieving optimum results for you. In general, you should build a team of advisors who can work together and strive to achieve the same goal. The same goal is your goals, but so many people become fearful or neglectful of putting together their own team who can stabilize and secure your current and future financial well-being. Most people don't understand the complex financial and tax matters of our society. Many are afraid to seek help because they don't know what to ask. Many don't know how to find a good team of advisors, and many don't know what duties to give each one of those team members. So here's a good example. A client will come to me for financial and retirement planning. And let's say he has an accountant, and this accountant has done a very good job in the past. There's trust and confidence, but he doesn't have an attorney to do the wills and trust or estate planning. At this point, I can step in and refer the attorney who specializes in his needs. At this point, we have a team that can work together. If I'm going to recommend a Roth IRA conversion, I can now go to his accountant and run the numbers and make sure from a tax standpoint it's in the client's best interest. The same is true if there is a legal question or matter. I now have a team member, the attorney, that I can go to on the client's behalf to obtain needed information or direct questions to that attorney. I'm a big believer in the team concept, but keeping the team at a minimum, whereas in this case, the client has 3 team members, and add an investment advisor, which would be my son, in the same firm, instead of having 5 or 6, maybe more advisors involved. Keep it simple, keep it streamlined with everyone on board. Now, let's say you don't already have this team in place. I can direct you to the attorney, to the CPA that I have confidence in, that actually work for me as my attorney and CPA. So I've got confidence in them. And I'm not going to refer a client to anyone that I personally would not work with. It's not a bad idea to interview your advisor team first. By doing this, you're going to make sure each individual has what you're looking for and will do the job for you. For example, when I meet with a client, the first meeting is basically an interview meeting. Is the client comfortable in working with me? Am I comfortable in taking on this individual as a new client? I wouldn't want to do business any other way, and most people feel the same. I'm here to help you together that team. And for those of you that don't have an advisor that works in the retirement planning arena, let me know and I'll give you an interview, see if we're a good fit. And I can also refer you to those other team members. Here's the number that you can call, 888-426-0177. So that toll-free 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week number is available, 888-426-0177. Don't hesitate to call me direct at my office. That number is 614-861-7055. And there's a good chance I'll probably answer the phone. 614-861-7055. Thank you for tuning in to the Safe Money and Retirement Show. I am your host, Jon Heischman. As always, I look forward to your questions and concerns.
The Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman Sr. To get in touch with Jon, call 1-888-426-0177. That's 1-888-426-0177. For more information about Heischman Financial Services, visit their website, HeischmanFS.com. That's HeischmanFS.com. Join us again next time for the Safe Money and Retirement Show with Jon Heischman Sr.